Okay, in terms of questions, I mean, we are unfortunately really running out of time, but I really do want to ask you all one question that's come up, which is really about this issue of reciprocity. I mean, it's come up a few times in the discussions, including today, about whether really what we need to do is to move, that if Canada's opening up travel to US citizens, UK's just opened up, you just mentioned it, Eric. Do we need to move through reciprocity, or is there a case for unilateral opening country by country? And what would be the consequences for the travel industry and for the economy? And I think that's a question for all of you. It's certainly Eric, but Zaritza and Dave, if you have any views on that, I'd be very interested. Don't know who wants to go first.
I'll just answer it quickly with one simple statement, which is that there's no difference between a vaccinated Canadian and a vaccinated American. So absolutely the principles of reciprocity, I think, should be front and center. Very good.
Zaritza, do you have views? Dave?
I must say, on a personal capacity, as a Brit, the simplifying rules and having similar rules for similar countries would just make sense, because the rules going back and forth between France and the UK have changed continuously and in very confusing ways. And I think, generally that's not going to be good for confidence in encouraging tourism. And it is very confusing.
Certainly is. Zaritza, do you have any views?
Yes. Sorry, I cannot turn on my camera because I have really internet connection problems. I believe very much in the adaptability. Have you seen how much we have changed our lifestyles since COVID started? We don't have a problem anymore facing and having a mask. I agree, it's almost impossible to plan any trip abroad. But I think as well, with the fact that you can cancel in the last minute, being it a flight or being it a hotel, it allows you still to have some hopes. The daily changing of measures is really, really bothering. But it is much more bothering than the country in which you live changes as well, because there are as well many. So I think that we are more agile to adapt. I think I'm still planning to go somewhere, so hopefully it will work.
Good for you, Zaritza. Good luck. Colleagues, I really do think we're going to have to close the session. We have overrun. There is much I could say to sum up. I think the basic points that I would like to make is that the restrictions on international travel in large part are what have determined the economic impact of this crisis, to a greater extent even than the level of national lockdown. It is the size of the travel and tourism sector that has determined how big the impact on a country has been. I think that's an incredibly important point, because of course it's the economic costs are terribly serious. They do restrict our abilities, our freedoms to actually support our life, our families, and so we do need to find ways to move towards a more normal travel situation. But of course, it will never get back to the same, or at least not for many years, as it was before this crisis. But I think what we've heard in this session is just the incredible importance of the travel and tourism sector to the economic impact of COVID-19. There is much more that I could say about certainty, about the costs of measures that need to be put in place and their possible impact on travel and tourism. But we do need to finish this session, and indeed the conference. And the organisers have asked me not only to thank the speakers of this session, but all the speakers. Thank you very much for taking time to attend this meeting and to share all your thoughts. And indeed to the audience, I hope you found it quite useful. The recording and presentations will soon be all on the National Academy's website, and there will be a summary publication that will be forthcoming, which certainly I'm very, very much looking forward to. But with that, slightly over the time limit, for which my apologies, but thank you very much for attending. I hope you've enjoyed the conference. I'm sure we'll be seeing each other at many other meetings of this sort as we try and make progress on this incredibly important issue. So thank you very much, everybody.